Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Maor. Today we're going to talk about the truth about the Jewish people. And what do I mean? Well, of course you probably know if you've been following me that I'm an Israeli Jew. That means that I'm living in the Jewish country, or where most of the Jewish people came in about the 1950s. It was about 1948. Now, the truth of the Jewish people is going to explain to you why Israel is at the center of many things, the sin that most of us took 2,000 years ago, and why we were scattered, potentially on a spiritual level, which is something that most Jewish people don't even understand and know. And I'm going to explain to you why the Jewish people became the bankers, why they became the mathematicians, why they became the scientists, because there's an origin and an explanation to all of this. So let's begin with some statistics. Out of 8 billion people in the world, the Jewish people are around 14 million. About 8 of them live in Israel, the rest live mostly in United States. Okay? Now in United States they have the most powerful positions. Banking, cinema, all the videos, half of the actors in Hollywood are Jewish in some way. Most of the good lawyers, everything like that, they're always in key positions. And the explanation to this, and one more fact. 20% of Nobel Prize winners are Jewish, okay? In chemistry, in biology, sometimes in physics, in economics. And the Jewish people, 15 million out of 8 billion people, that's only 0.2% of the entire population. Now, the reason for that, or one of the reasons for that, is that long time ago, according to the Jewish religion, Jews were allowed to give money or to lend money by interest to other nations and to other religions, but not to their own. While Christianity didn't allow to lend money by interest to anyone. So the first, you can say, bankers and traders, when the first gold coins or silver coins were actually created, they didn't have the banking system set just yet. And what happened is that the Jews were allowed to lend to others, so they became the ones that are holding all the money. And they became really good mathematicians as well because of that reason. This is one of the reasons that you see why Jewish people are so good with banking and with numbers and with investments and everything like that. The second reason is that the three major single God religions, Christianity, Islam and Judaism, each one has his own vibration, his own lesson, you can say. If an individual has a lesson to be learned in his life, then a nation or a religion also has a lesson. So Christianity is about spirituality, okay, real spirituality. Like Jesus always says, it's all about the love. Islam is about persistence, and you can pretty much see that. Judaism is about knowledge, retaining knowledge. So for example, my father is a rabbi. I have 8 more half brothers and sisters. I didn't grow up with them because my mother was an atheist and they split apart when I was very young. But I could really see how the Jewish religion is really about the knowledge. It's about reading. It's about, he woke up every day at 4 o'clock in the morning and he read books until it was like 8 or 9. Then he taught his students. They're always passing knowledge. That sometimes, I see it as something that is very robotic, when they have to pray 3 times a day for between 10 to 20 minutes, but it's robotic the way that they read. They don't really sense it like in Christianity when you pray like freestyling, because you want to say certain things, you can freestyle them, and then there's that intention behind. Okay, so it's really important for you to understand that. And the biggest sin that we had, which was the reason why the Jewish people were scattered all over the world 2,000 years ago, is that they were supposed to give that knowledge. What you hear today as Kabbalah or mystical Judaism, and a lot of knowledge in the rules, the rules that have kept the Jewish religion, and the reason why Jews are not allowed to have other people migrate into the religion, like in Islam and Christianity, when you can just bathe someone in holy water and he becomes a Christian. No. To become Jewish, you have to marry a Jewish person, and even then, you have to go through a whole lot of shit in order to become Jewish. In other words, the Jewish religion understands that it's all about, it's inside the family, it's in the blood. Like my wife is not Jewish, and she's working very hard to learn all the literature and to learn the rules, and she's going to have to go to be tested and stuff like that, just so our children will be declared and announced as Jews as well. So the sin, and this is something that you can actually see, the Jewish people were scattered all over the world. If you know your history, then you probably understand that during the Holocaust and the Second World War, they were almost annihilated completely. About 6 million Jewish, more than half of the population of the Jewish people back then, were killed and slaughtered. And of course, I know today there's a debate if it happened or didn't happen. Trust me, my grandmother was there, my grandfather was there. They lost all their family. This shit happened. And then the Jewish people asked for their own nation. The nation that they had 2,000 years ago when they were scattered. And they were scattered to every corner of the world. There's Ethiopians, there's Chinese Jews, there's Russian Jews. Nobody knows how it actually happened. You know, you can say God, aliens, whatever. We just know that it happened. And only then, 70 years ago, they came back to one place. And trust me, Israel is not a place that everybody will want to live in. Because of the Jewish intelligence, everybody here wants to be a rock star. Everybody, there's so many lawyers and business people, and it's really hard financially to live in this type of place where the government gives you very, very little and takes quite a lot, okay? So because of that intelligence, they were prosecuted. We were prosecuted until this day, you can say. Some people say that Jews are hypocrites. Some people say that Jews have their nose up and they feel that they're better about everything. I never felt that, and I'm a world traveler. But, you know, my friends travel as well, and this is what they say that they felt in some way. I think we make quite a lot of noise wherever we go. But as you can see, right now with COVID, Israel is getting beaten down. We have 10 times more people vaccinated. We are the experiment that everybody is looking at. And why? There's a controversy about why, but we think that the Prime Minister has signed a contract with Pfizer, and eventually... אני מקליט, משהו חשוב? Where were we? See, this was a good example. The police just came to see that after my visit in Dubai, I am quarantined to my house for at least 1 week just because I didn't get vaccinated, okay? This is a perfect example. I just had to wave to them from my window to make them see that I'm here. This is one of the things that the experiment holds us inside Israel. And this really pisses me off because I won't get into the details. And because of this success, the Jewish people were prosecuted. And a lot of people are still, until this day, in some way see them as odd, different. There's jealousy that created Nazism and everything like that, because back in the day, it was easy for Hitler to persuade other Germans to go against the Jews because they saw them as the bankers and the most successful, and there was jealousy. So it's really easy to hate someone that you're also jealous of. And again, all of this originated from the original Jewish sin. So, I hope this clarifies a few things for you guys. Let me tell you, it's not easy being an Israeli right now with the COVID and the financial crisis and the experiment that Pfizer is doing here already in the 3rd vaccine. And there's a lot of social pressure, and the media is completely controlled by the government, and there's a lot of stuff that you don't know that's going on here while we are creating the experiment for the rest of humanity for the vaccine, which right now I really don't believe in. So that's the secret about the sin of the Jewish people. I hope you can relate, I hope you understand. Namaste, and I will see you in my next video.